Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of Rebel with a Camera. I am R.L. Scott, and I'm back. I've been on a little hiatus. Had a lot of work in front of me, and things were a little crazy with the pandemic, but we are back. And today, in this second episode, we will be focusing on writing, and essentially writing for success. Oftentimes, when we begin the process of writing, we usually have, when you start out as a writer, you usually have very lofty ambitions, like you're writing these big, massive scripts, these big $100 million scripts, and these scripts that are just so big and so outrageous that you make them too big to produce. And so what happens is we end up with, 20 scripts in the closet sitting on the shelf for, 8 years, 10 years, or whatever it is. Let's go back to the mechanical process of writing. So for me, I used to write the traditional way, sitting at a desktop, writing on Final Draft. But in the past, probably 2 to 3 years, what I've found to be the most successful way for me to write is actually writing on my phone. So I purchased a Final Draft mobile, and I think it's you don't have to stand on ceremony. You know what I mean? Like, you can download the app and actually write on the go. It's actually more convenient, and I've been more productive in my day-to-day writing because I'm using the app now instead of making it such a serious matter, sitting in front of the desktop, because, when you're busy, it's sort of hard to find that kind of time. You know what I mean? It's hard to find time to sort of sit still and work at a desktop. But the beauty of using a mobile app to write is the fact that you can write on the go. No matter where you're at, you can write. If a line hits you, an idea hits you, you can just stop right there and instantly, write or jot it down. And yeah, it's super convenient, and it puts you in a position to have more instances where you can write, instead of having to be stuck at a desktop. So that's a big part of my process now is writing mobily on my phone. And once you start to develop an idea, one of the things that have really worked for me and helped me to be successful in that regard, in terms of producing content, which is like the ultimate goal, is to be able to produce content and make money from it. And I will also tell you some secrets on how you can actually make money from your content. So, it's easier to write on the go. And one of the things you want to do is set yourself up for success. One of the best ways to do that is to sort of approach writing from the other way around. I think a lot of times content creators who do write, they will write the story and the idea, and then they'll see if they can get it produced. Whereas I think if you actually look at the resources you have and you write based on that criteria, you write based on the things you do have access to, it will actually set you up to succeed. For instance, let's say I'm a writer. I want to produce something, but I'm not sure what. The first thing you should do is take inventory of what you do have. If you look at your situation and you look at your immediate circle, what are the resources that are there that you can pull from? For instance, if I have a friend who, let's say, manages a bar, that's a resource. That's a direct resource. You go to that friend and say, hey, I really love to shoot something in the bar or be able to use the bar. Like, is it possible for me to utilize this bar maybe on the days you guys are closed or before you guys open? Is that possible? Now, once you have permission, then you begin to write. You don't want to write before you have permission, because then you might have to pivot, or if that person says no, you might have to do something different. So you want to actually check in into those resources that are available to you, and then find out what is a go or what is a yes. Once you stockpile all those resources, oh, my friend here, he has a house. Oh, my friend here, he has a condo. He doesn't mind me using. Oh, my friend has this bar, this nightclub. My friend over here has, this garage, and you sort of make a list, a physical list, and take inventory. Then you look at that inventory and say, okay, cool. What kind of story? What's something unique that I could create from the things that I do have, the things that are available to me? What's an interesting story? Usually you want to start there, come up with something interesting, and then find there's the intangible, like the one thing that you can insert into that story that will make it totally different from other stories that are sort of in that vein. If you do a project about a bar, we've seen projects about bars before, but what is that thing you can add to it? Some weird sci-fi element, or some weird horror element, or some weird sort of out of place element, that one thing that would just make that story that much more unique and completely different than what we've seen. Those are the things that will make your project stand out. Those are the things that give it the slightly original spin. Like in most cases, so many stories have been told, it's very hard to have a solely original idea. But if you could add one thing to that genre or that story that just gives it that extra little pizzazz, So yeah, you want to start there. You want to basically, before you start writing, do inventory of your immediate circle. People you trust, people who, are reliable. Take inventory of the resources you have, and then begin to write and construct your story within that box, or within that container. And what that's going to do is set you up to be successful, because now you know that whatever that script is that you write, you now have the resources or the ability to produce that thing. And that's the main thing. You don't want to write anything that can't be produced based on where you are or what level you are. You don't want to just be writing for the sake of writing and then running around constantly, trying to shop scripts. Because the truth is, there are a lot of scripts out there. There are hundreds of thousands of scripts thrown around every day. And as writers, we always want to say that our idea is like the greatest thing ever. But the truth is, everyone thinks that way. So you don't want to just be writing to write. You want to be writing to produce. You want to be writing things that realistically can be made. And so we're going to stop there for today. And in our next installment, we are going to begin the arduous task of taking that written script or that written idea, and we're going to begin the pre-production process. The tangible thing of actually producing that idea or that screenplay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for listening. There will be much more. I'll be uploading a lot more frequently. And thank you guys so much for listening to episode 2 of Rebel with a Camera. This is R.L. Scott signing off. Have an amazing day. Peace.